All right, what's up everyone? Welcome back for another video. This week we are talking about seat height, what that affects and why it's important, why it's important for freestyle, why it's important for going downstream. It's important for like all your whitewater kayaking knowledge generally. Seat height affects two different things. It affects your ability to balance and the amount of leverage you have over your boat. Now, those are kind of things you think, oh, I might want both of those things, but really it's kind of one or the other or somewhere in between. Now, when I'm talking about seat height, I'm specifically talking about what you have underneath your butt that affects how high up you are in the boat. I'm not talking about if it's forward or back. That's seat position. That's something I'm going to cover in another video probably next week. So balance and leverage, right? If we have a higher seat, like if there's more stuff underneath your butt, then you're going to have more leverage over your boat, which means it's going to be easier to roll. It's going to be easier to move around and maneuver for freestyle tricks. It's going to be easier to control on a wave and just control in general because you've got more leverage of your upper body power. Weight is further away from the boat. The other side of that coin is you're going to have less balance the higher up you are because you've got more leverage. There's more weight further away from your boat. So if you want to be more balanced, you need to be sitting lower down in your boat. And if you want to have more leverage, you want to sit higher up in your boat. That's kind of a broad overview of seat height. Now the reason we're talking about this is because I was in the comments with someone a few weeks ago and we were talking about kind of their boat being tippy and off balance, and I said, have you checked your seat height? And they came back and said, oh, I think that's helped the issue a lot. So if you're having trouble like moving your boat around or kind of maneuvering it, then you could look at raising that up, especially if you're having a lot of trouble with your roll and you're in the right size boat. Speaking of being in the right size boat, if you're on the lower end of a weight category for a boat and you're having a lot of trouble moving it around and rolling it, you could look at bumping your seat height up to make it a bit easier for you to still be in that same boat, but just have an easier time with more leverage, right, to move it around. So let's talk about the mechanics of how you raise your seat height up. Most boats, when they come to you from the boat manufacturer, are going to have some kind of cushioned seat pad right on the seat itself, right? And then from there, if you want to go higher, you can raise it up even more. There's a few different ways we can raise it up. The easiest, cheapest, lowest cost way is to get like a foam camping mat or a yoga mat. You're just going to lay it down on the seat, cut a little square, and then experiment with that. If that's still not high enough, what you can do is cut some more squares and lay them on top of each other and then just duct tape the squares together. And that can give you a bit of a pad which can incrementally raise you up. Now it seems like although that's only like a ½ centimeter or whatever, a centimeter of seat height adjustment, little small increments actually do make a big difference. So experiment around, and experimentation is key to find like the optimal seat height for you. Another option is something like the Jackson Kayak Sweet Cheeks beanbag pad. These are really great because you can suck all the air out of it and make like a hard kind of butt imprint. So it's super comfortable and it's like exactly the right shape for your butt. This one's a 200 model, which gives you about a 2-inch raise on underneath your seat, which is actually quite a lot. That's for a lot of people, that's going to be too much raise right out of the gate. So you want to kind of play around with it a bit and figure out what's the right amount of seat height raise for you and in your boat situation. And equally, if you're borrowing someone's boat and you're finding it tippy and unstable, you might have to just take some of those seat pads out from underneath your boat, underneath your butt, sorry, to give yourself an easier time balancing. This boat, for example, is currently geared out for someone who's pretty small. It's got a Sweet Cheeks 100, which is like a 1-inch raise. It's got a seat pad, which is like a cushioned foam pad, and then back down. And then it goes down onto the seat itself. So that's a pretty significant seat raise job. In my boats, I mostly paddle right on the seat cushion or with one layer of foam. I don't usually go too much higher than that because I don't want to be too off balance, and I'm lucky enough that I've got enough power. I can usually kind of muscle my way through any leverage problems that I'm having, especially in a freestyle boat. So to summarize this short video, higher seat, more leverage, less balance, lower seat, less leverage, more balance. experiment with some different options, use foam, use those sweet cheek seat pads, find what works for you. And yeah, hopefully that's gonna make it easier to roll or easier to maneuver or easier to balance depending on what your situation is. Hopefully this helps you out, and I will see you in a future video. Peace.